I never imagined a day would come when I would sit on the edge of my bed, staring at a wedding invitation that never carried my name, a wedding I helped fund without even realizing it. Sometimes life breaks you in a quiet way, so quiet that you don't even hear the sound of your own heart cracking. It happened to me, slowly, bit by bit, through the hands of the two people I loved and supported the most, my only son, Marcus, and the woman he chose to marry. I raised Marcus alone. His father left when he was 3, and I made a decision that day that my child would never know the hunger, struggle, or shame that followed me in my early years. I worked every job I could, sometimes 2, sometimes 3. And when I finally built a small business that grew into something big, I swore I'd use my blessings to make sure my son never suffered a day in his life. Maybe that was my mistake. Maybe I protected him so well that he forgot who protected him in the first place. When he brought his girlfriend Tasha home for the first time, she looked at me like she was evaluating a house she wasn't sure she wanted to buy. She smiled tight, shook my hand lightly like she didn't want to touch me more than necessary, and called me ma'am, like I was some stranger she met at the grocery store. But for Marcus's sake, I welcomed her. I told myself she was shy, or nervous, or maybe she just needed time. I didn't know it then, but that woman was already calculating her way into our lives, smiling at Marcus while observing everything I owned, every space in my house, every gesture I made toward him. With each visit, the smile got smaller, the attitude got sharper, and Marcus seemed to bend a little more in her direction each day. Still, I looked past it because I loved my son. When they eventually got engaged, Tasha didn't even call to tell me. I found out a week later when Marcus came over and casually dropped the news while reaching for the lemonade I had just poured for him. "Mom, we're engaged," he said with the same tone he used when telling me he bought a new pair of shoes. I stared at him. "You're what?" He lifted Tasha's hand, showing me the ring. "We're getting married." I looked at her, expecting at least a smile. "Congratulations," I said softly. "Thank you," she replied in a tone that suggested I had no right to say anything else. But I swallowed my hurt, again, because I knew parents were supposed to. We fix, we forgive, we make room. And I made room, financially, emotionally, mentally. I told Marcus I would help with the wedding, because that's what a mother does. I didn't know I was funding the same wedding I would later be uninvited from. Months passed. Every time I asked about the wedding plans, I got vague answers. "We're still thinking. We're figuring it out. We'll let you know." Tasha was always the one holding the details, always the one answering for both of them. Marcus stopped calling as often. He became sharper, more defensive, like every question I asked threatened his manhood. One day I offered to host a small engagement dinner at my home. Something simple, something to celebrate. Tasha didn't even hesitate. "No, thank you," she said. "We're good." Marcus didn't speak. It was like watching my own child drift away while holding someone else's hand. But the moment that truly dug into my heart came on a quiet Sunday morning. I was sitting on my porch, drinking tea, when my elderly neighbour, Miss Clarice, walked up with a big smile. "Baby, I saw the announcement," she said. "What announcement?" I asked. "The wedding. They put it in the community paper. It looks real fancy." My hands trembled when I took the paper from her. There it was, in full colour, Marcus and Tasha standing in front of some garden I had never seen before, smiling like they were posing for a magazine cover. But it was the small print that broke me. "Wedding, private ceremony, by invitation only." I stared at the words for a long time. Invitation only. I hadn't received a thing, not even a text. At first I thought maybe there had been a mistake. Maybe the mail lost it. Maybe they were planning to surprise me. Maybe. But the truth was sitting heavy in my chest. They didn't want me there. Even then I tried to calm myself. I waited another week before finally deciding to ask Marcus directly. I didn't want to nag or complain. I just wanted clarity. So I drove to their apartment unannounced because calling now meant waiting days for a call back. When Tasha opened the door, she didn't hide her annoyance. "Oh, hi," she said flatly. "Is Marcus home?" I asked. She stepped aside reluctantly. The air in that apartment felt tight, like my presence had sucked the oxygen out of it. Marcus was on the couch, playing a video game, laughing with someone through his headset. When he noticed me, He paused the game and pulled off the headphones. Mom? Why didn't you call? You don't answer anymore, I said gently. He opened his mouth, then closed it. I wanted to ask you something, I continued cautiously. I saw the wedding announcement in the paper. I haven't received an invitation yet. I'm sure it's just an oversight, right? The silence that followed felt like a slow metal blade dragging across my ribs. Tasha folded her arms. It wasn't an oversight, she said. Marcus looked at her, then looked away from me. What does that mean? I asked softly. It means, she continued, we decided the wedding is going to be small, very small. Only people who won't cause unnecessary complications. I blinked. Complications? I'm your fiancé's mother. And I'm his wife-to-be, she replied coldly. This is our day. We don't want drama. I stared at her, then at Marcus. You think I would cause drama at my own son's wedding? Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. Mom, Tasha thinks it's better if the day is simple, stress-free. Stress-free? I repeated quietly. And my presence is stressful? They didn't answer. My throat tightened. My eyes burned. Marcus, after everything, you're telling me I'm not invited to your wedding? He didn't meet my eyes. Mom, don't make this harder. 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 My son was shutting me out of the most important day of his life, the day I had prayed for. The day I had imagined since he was a child, running barefoot through our little yard. I stood there feeling small, so small. Then I remembered something. The money, I whispered. Tasha's expression twitched. The $25,000 I gave you 2 months ago for wedding planning. Was that for the wedding? Marcus cut in quickly. It helped a lot. So I helped pay for a wedding I'm not allowed to attend? Tasha shrugged. Consider it a contribution. I looked at her, really looked at her, and finally saw it. Her greed, her entitlement, her cold ambition. And I saw Marcus too. My boy, the one I raised, now standing behind this woman like he didn't have a mind of his own. Is that all? Tasha asked. I nodded slowly. I guess it is. I walked out of that apartment without another word, holding on to the last pieces of my dignity like they were fragile glass. I didn't cry in the car. I didn't cry when I walked into my house. But later, when I saw Marcus's baby pictures on my mantel, his little smiles, his little hands reaching for me, I collapsed. I cried like a mother who'd been forgotten. I cried like a woman who realized her only child had chosen someone else entirely. And yet, deep inside the pain, something else was forming. Something steady, something cold, something shaped like resolve. They thought they didn't need me. They were wrong. They thought they had taken everything they could. But they hadn't seen what life becomes when the hand that feeds you finally closes. They were about to learn, and it wouldn't be gentle. Warm regards to all my blessed viewers listening to my story. Thank you for being here with me.